Okay.
Welcome to Let's Play Podcast.
Woo.
I'm Allison,
And I'm Brooklyn.
and today,
Yeah, take that sip.
we are discussing two very, very different topics
Yes.
on what we researched
Yes.
and what we made our essays on.
Woo.
So Brooklyn, what was your topic?
Malaysia flight 370. What was yours?
Spooky. Mine is body integrity dysphoria.
That's something.
Don't even worry about it. We
You
will
don't
deep
hear
dive.
that one every day.
Well, let's just deep dive.
Just deep dive.
Let's
Give me
just-
some background information.
Okay, basically, body integrity dysphoria is one, a mouthful. Two, it is a mental illness, psychology ridden, unfortunately. And it's about people who believe that they have unhealthy limbs. And they have the urge to amputate said unhealthy limbs.
That is something. You know where it started and when it started?
Okay, This is some tea. This is some tea. Because it's actually a love story.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? Nobody would expect.
But not really that surprising.
Yeah, love is crazy.
Really.
Love is crazy.
Crazy.
So basically, the first documented case from what we know of was from the 1700s.
Oh wow.
And it was based in France.
Okay.
And it's this French surgeon who had documented this case where there was this guy who had fallen in love with a one-legged woman. And he was so in love with her that he wanted to be identical to her. So he was like, I need to go and cut off my limb as well. Then he went to this French surgeon guy and was like, you need to cut off my leg. And the surgeon was like,
that's crazy.
And he didn't cut off his leg. So it got to the point where the guy who was in love literally held the French surgeon at gunpoint and was like, you either cut off my leg or I'm killing you.
Oh, so mental insanity. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, wow.
Psychology ridden.
Wow, that's crazy. It's an interesting topic.
And oh my gosh.
Spill.
What else I found out was that one-legged woman was kind of a player.
Oh.
She's been around the town.
And he cut off his
leg
for
for her.
Crazy what love will do.
And then he died.
Oh, that's horrible. That's so horrible ending. Wasn't expecting that. Okay, plot twist.
Right? Okay.
All
and
right.
then, yeah, so she was a player and she had a lot of different people fall in love with her. And so nowadays, obviously, it's not as intense. And it happens mostly in Western countries because of the way that they were grown up, I guess. But yeah, so it's now based mostly in Western countries. And they found it's very rare, and they've only found around 280 cases ever.
Just move past the background information, the intro, the lore drop we just dropped there.
I'm telling you, it's a lot.
What lens did you view that for, and why is it important?
That's right. Okay, so we've got our lenses, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this pick was kind of hard because it was well, how do you
explain it?
Yeah, how do you explain something through a lens? It's just a hard take. But the one that made the most sense was the cultural lens.
Right.
Because it was well, you can explore bids is what it's called for short. Yeah. You could explore bids through different people, different cultures, different exactly. Different styles of living. So that one was definitely the easiest and most understandable way to go through it. But
I mean, when it came to your articles, what were some connections and disagreements that many of them had within them? Were a lot of them really similar, or were there big differences in the articles that you found?
Okay, that's good. So for my thesis, the way that I set it up was I had 3 different topics, I guess, of how we were supposed to explain bids through this way. One of them was, the Western and non-Western countries, how that looks. And then another one was, I said, this was a love story. So there's obviously, sexual preferences involved.
Yeah.
So there are articles that I found on, sexuality roles and, being, you said, individualism. Yeah. there's definitely a lot of that. So those articles were purely just based off of like the rules of sexuality in bids. And then another one I found was like a research study where these people were like going to these like hospitals and like seeing if they were able to read like some of these documented cases on bids, and they went to this Asian country, and they found this undocumented case of bids, but the government like won't let it like out into the media because
so, like,
they're
hiding it.
They were being really secretive. Yeah, and they like these people like put it on like this article they found, and they got a lot of hate for it. They were like, well, like you're not able to like go and do that. Like that's like the government. And these like Asian countries, they got angry. Like, well, one, like people want to know more about this because it's obviously becoming more prevalent, and then like you can't get mad at them. Like they were just doing their jobs. Like I don't understand like where all of the hate came from. So definitely more differences than similarities.
Yeah. And when it came to like the tone of articles, were a lot of them pretty much the same? Or...
So to be honest, the tone was pretty neutral.
Okay.
Like for the research papers where it was just like straight facts, it was very like
just right to the point.
This is facts. Yeah. And then the secrecy ones, that was a little more like biased, I guess. They were a little more heavier because they were like, this is what's happening in the government and we're mad about it. Two, we've already talked about, is that self-amputation is a thing of bids. It's just like a mental illness that has to happen. And, you know, there's no cure. Like, it's a mental illness. Like, you can do nothing but, you know, therapy and, like, work it out. And then the other one, like I said, it's a love story. It's based on sexuality and, like, desire. But one of them is that the treatment methods for bids is very, like, they're small, obviously, and they're also very controversial. Like, because it's medicine. So, you know, some people are like, hot take, that medicine is ruining the world. And then other people are like, well, medicine saves us. like it's just hard. But then other people think that medicine is not the best thing ever. So, yeah, they're very, like, controversial, and people fight a lot about it.
Well, to conclude your side of this topic, is there any other information you would like to discuss? Anything people may not know? Or
I think that just like spreading awareness is really good, especially if some people are trying to be very secretive about it. Like, you know, you want to know what's going on in the world. Like, if there are people being secretive, open them up, because secrecy is not a thing.
We're not doing this. We're not hiding anything. It's not the world we live in.
Exactly.
People are nosy. We need to know.
We need to know.
We want to know.
Nosy is a perfect word. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, let us transition
into my topic.
Into your topic.
Malaysia Flight 370.
Let's take a full 180.
We're gonna shift gears all the way over to a whole new, less crazy story, but still crazy. Well, to start off, some background information. It started on March 8th, 2014, which feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't.
Well, like,
surprising.
Well, it feels, you say 2014 and you're like, oh yeah, that's recent, and then you're like, oh my gosh, that's
like it's the big 2025 right now.
Yeah, that's 11 years ago.
That's crazy.
It's been a long time.
But I always, when I looked at the date, I thought it was gonna be like 19. You know.
Oh,
not that old. Sorry, guys. But it started in Malaysia, and actually, it's mostly conspiracy theories. A lot of people, from what I know, it's a very isolated area.
Interesting.
Again, our government doesn't have much contact with them, so a lot of things were unable to be investigated, and they refused to give all evidence. But basically, the short story is the flight took, flight in the sky, and
flight in the sky.
After a couple, not even hours, a couple minutes, it went off the radar of all.
Minutes, you said?
Yeah, minutes. Within minutes. It just, once it left the Malaysia airport, once it hit a certain height, it just was gone out of the radar and no one could track it.
Do you know how many people were on the plane?
I think it was like 26. Oh! 26 people, and all of them were Chinese. All of them were Chinese. So suspicious indeed.
Do you know the pilot, what his ethnicity was?
Yeah, all Chinese. All of them were.
Wow.
Not a single one was not Chinese. Yeah, it's crazy.
I had no idea.
That's crazy. And I mean, even to this day, we don't have all the evidence. We don't know what happened.
Right,
It's all
like
conspiracy
unsolved.
theories. Yeah, it's unsolved mystery.
Wow.
It's crazy. But
okay, so how did you apply like a lens to this? Because obviously it was
to this lens, obviously a lot of it was mostly just based on the cultural part, like ethnicity. Obviously, it was all Chinese people,
right.
so
Yeah.
a lot of people were conspiracy theorizing that the government. Obviously, we already don't really trust China ourselves already,
right.
So that's
a
lot
topic.
of us are, and we were the ones who were had it on the radar. So we don't know, and obviously we're not close with China, so we don't know if they had something to do with it, or if we even had something to do with it. No one wants to speak up. We don't know.
And all 26 people are like
all 26
gone.
people are gone, disappeared, vanished.
What?
Crazy. We don't even know where the plane really was until like a couple years ago.
They found it in like the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was also a fun fact, which I was going to say for later, but it was actually one of the deepest dives we've had since the Titanic in order to find it. So it was really down there.
Wow.
Just crazy.
She was sunken.
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So mostly the cultural criticism lens is the one that I used, and I just did it based off, ethnicity, but also just individuality, just based on, what people predicted and what they want to think, because we don't really know.
Right, like how other people like respond to
just how we felt and what we wanted to think happened, because we don't have any evidence.
Okay, so like how did you find like this research? Like did you go straight for like articles that were like specifically about the planes, or
found a lot of articles about different people, and they had investigations, and they found very minimal evidence of things. Basically, the only thing they really found was some debris from the plane that fell in the US. They found it, and it moved. We don't know if it actually landed there or if it just eventually ended up there.
Wait, so it landed.
They don't know for sure. That's where they found it.
Americas.
Nowhere near where the plane was. Yeah, nowhere near.
Wow.
But people say that it traveled like 2 years before they found the actual, and it was literally just a wing from the plane, like one of the wings. But there's no like evidence behind it. They don't see anything on it. It was just a wing from the plane, just gone randomly.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. But other than that, there's a Netflix documentary that just talks about everything that they did find, which is very, very limited.
Did you watch that?
I watched a
snippet. Did that help?
It was very long.
With research?
It did, yeah. It basically just talked about, the people that were on it, how many were on there, just what they saw on the radar until it disappeared, and basically just, where they found the debris and what else the search parties, like who they sent out to watch it. But a lot of it has been canceled over the years and then re-continued. But they've given up because they haven't found anything.
Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, well, I'm guessing then like the tone was like pretty dark.
Oh yeah, it was very depressing, very mysterious. It was.
Yeah, it's giving like you don't know me.
Yeah, like a lot of like the articles. I mean, they were definitely grabbing attention for the audience of just trying to like make it sound like a mystery that was unsolved, which it is. They're making it sound. A lot of the articles were very biased on that area, where they definitely were just trying to use it a lot for entertainment. A lot of their stuff, it was very lengthy. They were just trying to keep you engaged so they can get their moolah. They did not really care about actually, helping us figure out what happened. They're kind of just Oops. They're just coming up with theories of whatever they wanted to think happened, and just kind of copying one another. There was an article, BBC, that actually called out many of the articles, saying that they were.
Well, they're pretty like news heavy though. BBC is.
They are, but they called them out and basically called out CNN and a couple others of just basically saying that they were doing it for entertainment purposes, and we're not understanding how they were affecting the people who, could have been families to the people on the plane.
Yeah.
Which we can get into of that. They said that they felt that no one really was trying that hard to find anything. Obviously, the families to the people who disappeared, since we don't actually know if they died and never found any bodies, nothing, which is crazy because we found the plane.
Right, so in the deep dive, they didn't have any passengers.
Any bodies, which is crazy.
That is, because normally that like rots in there, right? There should have been something.
I think that they escaped. A lot of the theories were saying that they, got some parachutes or something and jumped out of the plane.
But even then, they would have been found.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, there are other theories that they changed their identity completely. So they were one person and they became a whole new person in some random.
Okay, well now, like,
that's crazy.
But why though? Like, why would they want to do that?
We don't know. It's crazy. That's what's so weird is like
That
we
is so
don't know what
weird.
happened to them, but there were no bodies found. And I mean, there were just a lot of people of the investigation. So there's a lot of sketchy stuff at the airport. Like there were some passengers who were switching their seats right before getting on the plane. Just kind of odd to.
Yeah, that's a really suspicious way to go. Like
very, very odd. But yeah, they were all switching seats. And
can you imagine? They're like, you can totally tell that people have so many like ideas on.
Oh yeah.
Like what happened.
For sure.
Yeah, well, we had a little deep dive. That was nice.
A deep dive. We had to hit it. I mean, it's hard to talk about something that was never truly solved. You know, there's only so many facts that were given. All they found was a piece of the plane, where it was found eventually, which they actually just found, I think, that like 3 years ago, where the plane was.
Oh, really?
This was 11 years ago.
Oh,
they
wow.
finally found the plane, and it's crazy.
Okay, so like, what do you think? Like, do you have any like ideas of like what could have happened with them?
Honestly, from the articles, I mean, obviously they were all pretty biased, but I mean, we don't know anything, so we kind of have to be biased here.
Right.
A lot of them said that the Chinese government had something to do with it. Like they were trying, like either they were some sort of like part of like some CIA kind of thing, like all the people on the plane, and they were, you know, trying to do some investigation. They were scared they were gonna get caught, so they tried to escape. They did something long before the flight, and that's what a lot of them said, or that our government has something to do with it, and we caused a mass destruction.
Oh wow! Who was trying to think who?
It's crazy. We don't even know, but yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, it was all conspiracy theories, very biased. The only one that wasn't was the BBC that I found, and then the Netflix documentary that was just pure facts of what they did find, and no conspiracy. They're just calling people out on the people who did.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, because you don't know, one, like you said, you don't know anything about those people. Like, those people could have had jobs. Like, who knows? Who knows what they were tied into?
They only knew the pilot, not even the co-pilot. Solely just the pilot.
And even then, that could be like, since they only know the pilot totally had something to do with it. And like, yeah, that's really weird. Like, how are you gonna have like a plane crash, all of the people go missing, you don't find the plane for years,
and no bodies found,
no bodies.
So like, where did they go?
And you're not gonna like deep dive back. Like you have, okay, I'm sorry, but you have the information. Like it was back then, like really not too long ago.
Really
like
wasn't. I mean,
our technology, our technology wasn't as strong, but again, you're still documenting who goes on the plane, when the flight takes off, who the pilots are. Like, it's just like crazy to me.
Very odd. It's just weird that we still haven't found anything. It's been almost 12 years now. So
yeah,
it's just definitely crazy to think about. But yeah, it's just a mystery that stays unsolved. Very biased opinions. But the people overall, I mean, of the families, they were just confused and a little upset. You know, a lot of them, and the articles had talked about after the basically just explaining that they wanted the investigation to continue because they had stopped it for several years, and that they deserved therapy and all this stuff from traumatized.
Well, yeah,
they have no clue where their family went.
Like,
they don't know if they're alive, dead. They have no clue.
Can you imagine? Like, I could not be a family member. That would like
that would be literally insane. Yeah, because you're like, what if they are alive? And you'd go. I feel like I'd go insane. Like I'd be wanting to look for them. But it's like, where would you even look?
Like, where would you start?
That's just crazy. So they're like, we deserve free therapy. We deserve the investigation.
I would sue for like millions of dollars. If I'm going to miss a family member, at least I'm going to be rich.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And like, they stopped the investigation, which is odd because they keep stopping it and continuing it, saying that there's not enough evidence to keep it going. But it's like, well,
okay, yeah, I get that. But
like, again, you have to find something.
You gotta find something here. Like, there's obviously, there's no way, there's nothing
at all. Yeah, like something's off. Like someone either hijacked the system and got rid of all evidence.
It's giving like, I have blackmail on you and we need to get out of the city immediately.
It's crazy. It's giving someone been behind someone's back, portrayed, did something that they shouldn't have done. But it's just crazy. We don't know if they're alive, where they went. Crazy. No clue. But no bodies found. So yeah. Wow. Both some dark stories we have here.
Yeah, I mean, what a 180 from the topic we discussed earlier. I mean, that's just crazy. Well, thank you for playing podcast with us.
Our podcast and our editing skills.